1, 2, 3, we do that. Welcome to The Good. And today we have a very exciting guest. Welcome, Marianne Jemstegard.
Is it almost very nice? Yeah.
So Marianne is someone who I met on my path with fashion and trying to get to know Norwegian fashion scene. Mm-hmm. And then everyone is like, you need to meet Marianne.
Oh, really?
Why you haven't talked to Marianne yet?
Oh, that's very nice to hear.
And then when it didn't happen, I saw you then at the event at Grand Hotel, finally, even though I've seen you around, and then I saw you again and you were DJing.
Yes, that was the event where we showed your bags, right?
They were also there. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was a beautiful sunny day on the roof of the Grand Hotel, and you're in your flow with the sun playing in your hair, really just having a great time. I'm like, okay, let me just capture this. So I started filming it. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to come and talk to you. Like, hey, you look great, which you did. And I said, hi, I'm the lady from Serena Bags.
Yeah, and then I was very starstruck because I've seen the bags and I've seen the quality of them, and I didn't really know who was behind it. So I was like shocked. This very, very young girl, I was thinking you're only like 18 years old or something.
Thank you. That's
so I was like shocked that you were able to produce this by the tender age of 18. But yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
getting younger every day. But thank you. And for me, it was so wonderful then to connect and to get to know you not only from that kind of facade of glamour and beauty and TV, but also that personality that is so, so full of light and energy and I want to say easy, but almost like not the right word, but approachable in a very good way. Like because what you find, I would just now do my preamble with Norwegian culture. I love Norwegians. They have amazing qualities, but when it comes to sometimes kind of breaking their ice, so it might be a bit reserved and it takes time.
Yeah.
And with you, I felt you were just more open to that conversation. I felt, oh my God, I'm welcome into your world, into your kind of, I would say, energy almost.
Oh, that was beautifully said. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, but we're all in this for connection, aren't we? In one way or another, how we express ourselves, if it's through fashion or something that we create, design, or if it's through music, what kind of music we play. And we all try to connect with each other in one way or another. And life is too short to be really stuck up, isn't it?
Absolutely. And on that note, with the life is too short and so many things happening, and just before we started this interview, we were just talking how many different things are happening in your realm of your world.
Yeah.
So let's start from somewhere in Norway, with majority of people know you as a TV presenter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me about that. How is that happening in your life? How many years you've been doing that?
I am super bad with the numbers. I for some reason I always have been. So when people ask me how long have you been doing that for, and I'm like a couple of years, and then it's like 12. I think I've been on TV2 for 12 years, 11 years, doing fashion for Good Morning Norway, and before that, it was like more of like a rendezvous every now and then with the TV as a genre. And I just find that medium is just so fascinating because everything goes so fast. This was obviously, when I started this, it was before the days of social media, really. So now it's a media that goes a lot faster than what I started working with. But I really, really enjoy like the fast-paced direct TV, live TV feeling, that you get from doing Good Morning Norway. So I absolutely love doing that. And I love that you reach so broadly, through a medium like Good Morning Norway. You talk to young moms, and you talk to pensioners, and you talk to kids and guys and girls and everyone. Not everyone who's really interested in fashion, but I believe that everyone is interested in clothes, and everyone is interested in personal style, and everyone wants inspiration, in their everyday life. So if you can be like a source for that, then it's fantastic. So I didn't really have a plan to work on TV. It just kind of happened. And I think it's like that with most things. As long as you lean forward into life, there will always be opportunities coming your way, and it's about grabbing hold of them and making the most out of them. And for me, TV kind of just happened as a...
I love that, lean forward.
Yeah, you should lean forward into life in general, new meetings. I wouldn't be sitting here with you if we didn't have that conversation on the rooftop, if either of us were too stuck up to talk to each other. So, and it's kind of like that with everything in life, I think.
What is the most, I would say, from recent, let's say maybe within last year, the opportunities that you were leaning forwards? What were the most that you didn't even think would happen?
Oh my God, that's a difficult question. Again, because I find my brain works kind of funny like that I just live very much in the present. And that is, in one way, it's fantastic because you put all your energy into what you're doing right now. But at the same time, you don't really think about what happened 6 months ago. So you're not really, is it called like sleeping on your laurels? You would say that in Norwegians, at least, you're leaning on your laurels. You're not really resting in your success so much. You're not really enjoying what you accomplish. You're always thinking of the next thing, like the next meeting, the next opportunity, the next thing you're going to do. And that is what brings me joy, is looking forward, not really leaning backwards and really thinking so much about what I did. Yeah. So people are like, oh, then you did this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that.
That's true. On my iPhone photos, that's what it says.
Yeah, I think also maybe because, I've never really had a normal job in the sense that I've never ever written a resume. I've never done the CV thing. And then I was headhunted to this job once a long time ago, and they said, you have to make a CV. And I was like, but I had to Google that and then try to figure out when did I graduate and what did I do? And so it's never really been a part of my vocabulary in a way to really think about that. Yeah.
Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow and just And I think just, being able to work the way I do as a DJ, or when I work with people styling them, or when I travel and do lectures, or when I work with TV, or, when I run my companies that do more events and fairs and those things, I feel super lucky every single day about doing this. So everything that I do to me is like an accomplishment in that way, because I know I made it happen myself. And I think that's that's so exciting. On that point, I know you're probably gonna say you don't do that, but have you ever done this vision boards, people? No, never. No, never. I think that's super, because then I also feel you restrict yourself a lot. Or maybe you don't. It's a good tool maybe to have for some people, but I'm I don't want to look at that beach every day on my refrigerator and be like, oh, I'm going to visualize I'm going to be on that beach, because maybe tomorrow I want to be in New York, or I want to do something else. And then I think you also, the whole manifestation thing is you're limiting yourself in one way, because you're just super focused on achieving those goals that you put forward. And the universe is full of opportunities and exciting meetings, and you never know what's going to be around the next corner. So it's better to just I think as long as you focus on really working hard, and that's always been a very, very important thing to me, that you have to really work hard at whatever you're doing right now, then it doesn't matter what's on your wall or in your scrapbook somewhere. Greater things than that can happen.
I think it resonated with so many people right now, what you just said. Well, I know definitely it resonated with one person who was just that's how I feel. I think that's because there is a lot of conversation about.
Yeah, but do you have a vision board?
No, I don't. But I've been talking lately about this conversation. In which context? part of me really is like, absolutely, because there are so many things that some things I know about, but there's so many things I just not able to compute yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, so on that point, it's like, don't limit yourself. But on the point, I thought about them from perspective of if you have, because when I look back, and it's like all, next thing, and you get busy, and even busy, if not with projects, but like if you're mom and life, there are a lot of like different errands that kind of keep you really busy, and then in the winter, even how many layers you have to put.
Oh my God, that's the worst
keeping you
part.
already busy.
That kills creativity, I feel, more than anything else. Just the weather. Yeah.
It really is. But today is a sunny day, so things are looking up.
Yeah.
But I feel like if like there is some kind of tracking almost like for yourself, not something you look at, but maybe once a year or something, you kind of have a little thing like, okay, well, this is 3-5 things I'm thinking about. And then like in a year you look back, it's like, oh, well done. You know? Just for that purpose of reflection, like for yourself. So even though when you're just constantly working hard and you're like not really maybe thinking about what happens, so you're not feeling so accomplished within because sometimes, especially with the creativity and the flow, it's like there are a lot of great moments, but there would be a day when you might feel a bit down on this, and on that day it's like just a good tool to, well, you know what, let me look back. I've done well. Maybe some things are not perfect, but I've done well.
I think that's very true. It's the only, I feel, especially now with the generation who's growing up now, I work a lot with kids who are between like maybe 18 and 25. I have them come and go, they assist me, or I work together with them in the fashion industry. And a lot of the times I feel they are so talented and they're so overqualified almost to what they're doing, but at the same time they're limiting themselves so much because they are so focused on doing everything right all the time, and they're very focused on this goal, and then I'm doing this, and I cannot go on this trip because I have to work out every day, or I have to do certain things every day all the time. And I think that's just you have this disposition to really follow rules to a degree that I think is limiting in the long run. So that's why I think it's better to try not to really set yourself too many goals, that you are just working towards that, and be more open and just focus what's straight ahead of you instead of what's 5 years ahead.
On the question of how people look around and how does it affect us, I think it's such a key point, and many people are undervaluing it, and that skepticism about seeing fashion like, oh, it's just it's something on the surface, it doesn't really change your life. Well, it's not maybe engineering, but what it does, it just really create those instant mood changes, almost like when you interact on daily. It doesn't even matter is it a work interaction, is it an interaction in the supermarket, in the coffee shop, with your friend, with your child, and suddenly let's say even your child saying, oh mama, you look nice, or well, I like what you're wearing, I like how it feels, and then it just chain reaction into like, oh, I feel good. Well, you know what? I saw my friend. She's wearing, this thing. And actually that made me feel so inspired. And I'm actually going to be more daring and put some color on.
Exactly.
And put some, brighter lipstick, or put a handbag with a color, not just black,
Exactly. And I think that is like the key of it. It's about the psychological effect of dressing up and playing more with style as well, having more fun with it, because it's not that serious. It's like you said, it's not engineering, but it is like a psychological effect to not just for yourself, but for the people that you meet as well, for your family, for your friends. So you make the world brighter and nicer, kinder, if you take some consideration into how you're dressed as well, I think. Do you have a favorite item in your wardrobe? Oh my God, I'm super damaged. I have so much clothes and so much things, because I put so much, maybe too much, I think, value in things, because things to me are like talismans in a way. They have so much energy from I bought this when I was living in New York, or I bought this as a treat to myself after I booked that gig in Marrakesh, or whatever it is. Like all of these things hold so much importance to me that it's very difficult for me to get rid of them, even though I rarely ever use them, because they would be vulgar and obscene to walk around with in everyday life, I think. But I have my giant rotating closet that's just in and out of different, not like that, but it's like you, in a way that I pack away things and I take new things out constantly. It's always rotating. And in my living room, I wish I had a space like yours, because it's very beautiful, and it's like it's both like kind of decadent and minimalist at the same time, which is really good. Nice job.
Thank you.
But and my apartment is also, it's like the same kind of Frognergård, you know, with the stuck and everything. But I have a giant cabinet that's with the glass that's supposed to be used for, you know, your china and your glass and everything like that. I have filled it with shoes. I have another one. It's filled with bags, and it's just I don't have place for china. I don't have place for wine glasses. Oh, I do have place for wine glasses. That is not true. But it's just, for me, it's surrounding yourself with things that create joy and gives me good memories. And people tend to enjoy it when they come visiting as well, because they're always like, they get to pick out their favorite shoes. Not to take home, but to look at. And so it's like asking our mom to pick out the favorite child, you know. You cannot do that. They're all favorites. I love them all, even though some of them I never wear.
Well, I think it's exciting to know for your daughter that you know you're not going to wear them, but she's getting ready.
She's very aware of that already, unfortunately. She's 6 years old and she's already like, oh, that's going to be mine one day. I think hopefully she's not like conspiring to get rid of me anytime soon or something, but she really she enjoys the bags and the shoes as well. Yeah.
Well, she sees you, and observing my kids, and I know when like they see me dressed up and everything, they react. And they're still at the age where it's not like pretend, you know, it's actually, you feel it's genuine. So they tell me, "Oh, mommy, you look so nice. Oh, she looks like a princess." So
Isn't that beautiful?
It gives that, you know, that energy extra layer, even though usually when you in the busy life you get dressed, you didn't even maybe have a moment to reflect, like, how do I look? You have some plan. And you're like, oh, thank you. Oh, I look nice. Tell me about DJing.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been working with music longer than I've been working with fashion. For me, the gateway into fashion was through music, really, because I always knew I wanted to be a journalist since I was a small kid. I was making these little magazines, you know, and trying to sell to my parents' friends when they come over for dinner parties and stuff like that. Didn't sell very well, but
good target audience.
Good target, yeah, I knew that straight away. These are the suckers you're gonna try and steal money from. But yeah, so I always wanted to write, and for me, what triggered me the most, what was most interesting, what was provoked me the most, or made me laugh most, or was always music, more than any other cultural. Even though I love reading, I love films, but so I always knew I wanted to write about music. So I started to write about music when I was 14 or something like that in the local newspaper, and then I started to work as a music journalist for the Dagsavisen, and I worked for a music paper called Puls. And while doing that, of course, then this was in the days of the CD, back in the old days of the compact disc. So I would eventually have this giant collection of CDs, of course, as you do. And I love vinyls. I always have since I was very young. So I also have a giant collection of vinyls that I would drag around with me from apartment to apartment. All of these things was like, that was my life. That was what was most important for me. And while I was working as a music journalist, I started to realize that I needed an extra income. And one of my friends had a bar. So I said, okay, but maybe I can learn how to make drinks, become a bartender. So I did that for about a week. And that was horrible job because you had to cut these limes all the time and clean up everything, and people are rude to you when you're a bartender. So I'm never after that, never rude to bartenders. Going to work 2 hours before the bar started or opened to set everything up, and then as the bar opened, a guy would come with like a little trolley bag filled with vinyls and some CDs, and he would be the DJ. And the first thing I would do, like, to mix a drink to the DJ, and then the night would start. And at the end of the night, the DJ would say thank you very much, and then leave with his little trolley bag, and I would be stuck there cleaning after all the guests. And I said, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. So whenever we didn't have a DJ, I would just go up and try to learn how to play, you know, because I had a lot of CDs and I had a lot of music. So, and this was the time when you were actually, as a DJ, you would then burn CDs with the different tracks. So I had all these little notes and a little flashlight, and I would look at like, oh, track number 5 is this. And I would sit and I would do this. And one day a guy came into the bar sitting there, and I would DJ and I would play, you know, old soul and funk. I played Motown. I like all the stuff and punk as well, like, because it was like a rock and cocktail kind of bar. And I love, like Ornette Coleman said, if you like music, you like a lot of music. And I really believe that there's good in almost every genre, you know. And he would come up to me and was like, "Oh, you good music. Do you work as a DJ?" And I would be like, "Yes, I do now. Yes." And he ran an event agency. So the next day I had a meeting with the event agency, and I started to do event gigs, and that was how I started doing that. And again, it's like leaning forward into things, not necessarily really knowing what you're doing or having a long-term plan, but just like leaning into whatever good thing is happening. Because the good thing could be really great, you know.
I love that. And on the leaning forward with the influencer space, that's the new. So we got the TV, got the DJing, the influencer landscape that is mainly very popular, occupied by, well, of course, teenagers, and then I would say probably 16 to 25, now 25, 35. But not so many role models past 35. There are some. It's happening now, but
it is a big shift now. I think it's more influencers who are 50 plus and who are doing amazing content. Who's more maybe free and fun and inspiring, and maybe not so many in Norway, but internationally, it's like a growing thing. And I think those are the people who are more on Instagram now probably than anyone else, you know, because the young kids move to different platforms, so it's the grannies are taking over those spaces. So hi.
Well, I wouldn't call yourself a granny at all, but I think on the point with the influencer space and Instagram, is your choice of platform Instagram at the moment?
I think because it's such an easy platform for me. It's like I can't indulge too much. I have limited time for everything, I think, and a limited interest for. I really admire in a way people who are super focused on one thing. I think it's something magical about that. But I've always been like multididact. Like I've always wanted to do many different things at the same time and be like fairly good at it, not like super great at anything, but like fairly good at many things. And I think that's for me what keeps life interesting as well. So Instagram is perfect because then I can post, but I don't have to post all the time, or I don't have to do. I know if you're gonna be like super successful at it, you have to probably post every day and do like 10 stories. Something like you have to have between 10 and 20 story posts every day in order to keep up the engagement. And that to me is just like, how narcissistic can you be? Like, or how much fun things do you have to say every day? Some people do, and I think it's fascinating, but I would rather like do something that I think is interesting or good or just fun and post that when I feel like it, and then Instagram is perfect for me.
If you were talking to a younger version of yourself, you know, because that with the podcast, when we listen, we want to maybe get some nuggets of wisdom, of advice, right? So if you were talking to yourself, let's say 10 years ago, what advice can you give her?
Yeah, when I was in my young and I was around 35 years old 10 years ago. You know, it's I wasn't so young.
Well,
maybe
who would you like to talk to your 35-year-old or to your 25-year-old, and what can you?
Oh my God! Yeah, I think I would probably I would like to talk to the younger me. You know, the teenager me more than
How old
the
is she,
later.
the teenager?
Well, no, but then because that was for me absolutely the worst time in my life when I was in my late teens, and it was just difficult finding your space and your place, and you felt really, you know, that like I was saying earlier, that you felt like an outsider and you didn't really fit in anywhere. You know, I went to punk clubs and I looked like this, so that didn't really work. And then I went to like where the posh people were, and they were like kind of like, you're weird. So I didn't really fit in anywhere, I felt, you know, and I think I would tell to myself as, you know, 15, 16, 17, that being an outsider is a real superpower in a way, you know, that it's that is where you get your strength, and that's where you get your inspiration as well. So I would tell her just to keep going, just don't stress too much.
Thank you. And I know there are many more things I want to know, but from point of view of things that we kind of touched upon, and if you have any other message you feel people need to hear?
No, I think a lot of the times, because of the format that I work in with the Good Morning Norway, for example, which is, you know, you have 10 minutes to talk about a trend or some clothes on TV. It's very easy to, when you just know a person from that part, you can just say, oh, you're always like a super happy, quite like shallow individual who just, just backpedals around on the surface of it all. And that's obviously, of course, just a tiny little fraction of that person. And I think in general, for people, when you work if you work in fashion or you work in the aesthetic field in any way, it's easy for other people to think that you are more one-dimensional. But I wouldn't think that about a doctor, that you go home and all you do is like put diagnoses on all your friends and like bandage people at home. So it's weird how like some jobs kind of limit how people look at you, and other jobs are just like, of course, that's your day job. So I think there's just the surface is really fun, and it's a lot of really interesting and creative and fun things that you can do with surface level thing, but it's still surface. So there's more.
So on the depth then. Mm-hmm. And since people know you and I know you like that, and I mean, it's very wonderful to be around somebody who's like always up and, you know, in happy and everything. But with the path, and we talked about the teenage era that you kind of had to go through, but through the moments of through your life, through, I don't know, past 20 years of things that you can think of, what was the most difficult moment for you?
Difficult. It was definitely becoming a mom was very, because it's such a wonderful, fantastic thing, but it changes you in so many ways that you're not prepared for, really, and it changes your brain, it changes your body, and it changes your schedule, it changes your life, you know, it changes what you value in life as well. So it's very difficult, I think, when you have built your career and your life upon being super available, super flexible, always like on the go and always saying yes, and to not be able to do that, but at the same time wanting to keep your career, keep that doing fun things, but now with like another big part occupying so much of your heart and your brain. It's been obviously the most wonderful thing that's happened to me, but also the most difficult thing in the past 10 years.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and I'm really personally looking forward to get to know you more.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more. I want to ask you some questions now. Yeah.
Thank you.